Hello, everybody. I hope you're doing well. Today, we're going to be comparing foreign exchange trading with crypto trading and how I'm going about learning about crypto and how my approach is going to change. For those of you who don't know, I've been currency trading for many, many years, which is 90% technical analysis and about 10% fundamental, probably even a little bit more edging towards technical analysis. So I'm going to be explaining why my approach is going to be different when learning about crypto, how I'm going to be learning about it to prepare in the best way possible, and how I'm personally making my investment decisions. So I think this is going to be really, really helpful for those of you that are coming from foreign exchange, or if you're not coming from foreign exchange and you just want to learn crypto, it'd be great if you could learn crypto with me. I've been researching it for quite a number of weeks/months now, and so I just want to kind of share my learning process and also kind of hopefully simplify a lot of things down, because I don't really like looking into all of the technicals. I'm not really that interested in, learning how to all of the, the cryptography and the code behind it. I'm more interested in the application of it and understanding the fundamentals of investing, supply and demand, understanding consumer behavior. These things for me are actually more important. And the good thing is they're actually a lot simpler to learn. So if you're interested in that, then I would highly recommend sticking around. Okay, so let's first of all talk about foreign exchange. So foreign exchange, as I mentioned, I've got about 90% technical, 10% fundamental. The 10% fundamental would be I basically just don't trade around, major economic news, or if there's a lot of economic tension and there's a lot of unnecessary volatility or unpredictable volatility, I'll just stay out. Okay, now if we were to go to an example of this, right here. So this is Euro USD, the euro against the dollar. You can see that compared to Bitcoin, prices are moving, within a little bit more of a controlled flow. They're returning to they're pulling back a lot. And so if we were to draw kind of an average through price like this, you can see that price pretty much always returns to this average. Now, there are some anomalies on this chart, namely right here. But if we look at the time period that this was in, because if you'll notice that this is a lot less controlled, we're just bolting, and this would resemble something a little bit more like we'd see on Bitcoin or another altcoin or something like that. But if we look at this time period, this was exactly when the 2008 financial global crisis was. And so it's hardly surprising that we had this incredible, unpredictable, volatile push down here. But overall, except for the odd anomaly and things like this, we are generally going and staying within certain means. Now, the reason for this, the main reason, is because there's such huge integration and such huge application of currencies as we know them. They are fueling the entire economy. And this is really important that the prices don't fluctuate like this all too much, because, let's say prices are down here at 0.95. So if you bought euros like this, the euro is going to be 0.95 times the dollar, okay? And so if you were a company trying to trade abroad and you were trying to buy stock, for example, and you see this price, and then you go for a coffee, and then you come back 10 minutes later and the price has absolutely flown up, done a weird curve thing here, and this is to basically 1.8. What that means is you just add the price of the stock that you're going to buy has gone up by 80%. So if your stock cost, $1 million, you now have to pay 1.8 million. Now, needless to say, this can massively affect your profit margin / completely wipe it out. And so there needs to be some consistency in these prices. We can't have these ridiculous volatile swings. Now, the reason that this is allowed to happen in Bitcoin is because there isn't that much real world application of Bitcoin. Okay. That's not the one I wanted. There just isn't that much real world application yet. Am I saying there's never going to be real world application? No, not at all. It's very likely that there will be, in my opinion. But in the short term, there isn't anywhere near the amount of application, the amount of integration that we have with the standard centralized currencies that we operate with right now. Now, this is particularly relevant. Let me see if I can get right. There we go. So this is really, really relevant because it means that what we're looking at here in terms of the market is going to be mainly fueled by speculation, meaning it's going to mainly be fueled by news, the hype around it, the belief, the fear, and the greed. These are going to be things that are massively driving things. Because if we are right here, then and a news release comes out and it's like, okay, cool, in March next year, so that's around about here, there's going to be a new piece of technology that's going to really change the game. And so it comes out around here. All of the smart investors are buying up around this point right here. And then when we get to this point up here, after the news is released, now it's time for people to take profits, those smart investors who got in down here or somewhere up here, to get out right here. They've got a clear exit strategy because they know that during this period, there are going to be constant news and updates around this release that's coming around here. And that is going to fuel public opinion and it's going to massively influence consumer belief. And so when that announcement comes, now there's going to be a lot less news because there isn't another announcement to look for in the future. And so the most likely scenario is that they're going to dump it, at least temporarily, or dump a portion of it so they can take off their profits. And down here, while everyone else is fearful, they can potentially accumulate more depending on what those fundamentals are saying. Now, long term for just crypto in general, there's a lot of belief in the potential of it. Just go to any forum and you'll see the incredible communities and the opinion of a lot of these currencies. People have an incredible amount of belief in them, despite at the moment a limited application for most of them. Not all of them, but for a lot of them it's very limited, or there are a lot of errors in the technology and all of this sort of stuff. So long term, I think there's a lot of potential. But if we were to compare how I'm going to be approaching crypto with foreign exchange, the ones that I'm most interested in are the ones where I really understand the utility of the coin and there's a demand for it, okay? Because if we have two companies, or two coins, I should say, okay, so we have coin A and then we have coin B. Now, coin A is a game, for example, a crypto game. Now, I'm going to make a whole series on crypto gaming as we go forward. But let's say company A creates a really, really good quality game, okay? And this game, when they create it, they build up 20,000 loyal followers, okay? These are loyal players of the game who really, really enjoy it. And let's say that some news comes out or something happens where the price of this coin A suddenly plummets down here, okay? Now, before I finish this example off, let's move over to coin B. And let's say this is just a coin which has no real world application yet, or extremely limited amounts, and it's fueled entirely by consumer belief. Now, let's say that we're coming up here and then the exact same thing happens. Which one of these would you prefer to have had your money on? If you had to hold both of these forever, which one would you prefer to hold? Well, for me, it's a no-brainer. You're going to hold this one right here, because ultimately, if you have people who are loyal and who are finding value from a product or service, then even if the market does go down, yes, a lot of people will be more scared, and you will be more scared as an investor, but instead you will be able to capitalize on this fear by buying the dip, buying the huge dip, buying that massively discounted price in the hopes that prices are going to continue going up here. Now, in this example, it's still very possible that prices continue going up like this. But if there's no real world application, you're going to be a lot more vulnerable to those news and that consumer belief. Because if most people see this huge dip down here, this could be enough to completely lose faith in a coin, and people just the price just continues to deteriorate all the way down to zero, or it just kind of fluctuates like this for a very, very long time. That's going to be a lot more of a damaging scenario for you as an investor. And so, in other words, the best scenario for me and the way that I'm going to be approaching things is I'm going to be looking at cryptos that have real world utility, but not just real world utility, but utility in industries that I understand that there is a demand for it. Now, crypto gaming is a really, really good example, because the benefits that crypto gaming brings to people is something that people have been wanting for a long time, whether that's consciously or subconsciously. And again, I'm going to be making a whole new series about this. But these are things like having verifiable ownership of in-game digital assets, whether that's a skin like you'd have in Fortnite, or a particular in-game item, or a weapon or piece of clothing, whatever it is. that's going to be verifiably owned by one person. And so basically it's bridging the gap between the real world and the virtual world. Obviously in the real world, two people can't own the same house. And it's going to be very, very similar, and crypto gaming opens that door in the virtual world. As well as that, we've got the ability to play to earn. This is still very, very new, but in the future, you're going to be able to, most likely, in my opinion, be able to convert digital currency, like crypto, into in-game currency, and then convert that back if you choose to do so, which basically creates an entirely new economy, to be honest. And that's incredible. And I'm going to explain this in a lot more detail in a future series. But that's an example of a real world application of crypto. And this is, NFTs is kind of integrated into that. And so the way that I'm going to be learning, the way that I'm going to be approaching things is simply going to be, number one, let me just move my microphone. Number one is understand one industry, or let's just say 1 to 2 industries really well. Why 1 to 2 industries really well? Well, because if I'm following 100 different people, all in 100 different industries with 100 different coins, all doing 100 different things, it's going to be impossible for me to stay on top of everything. So if I just focus on a few and an industry that I really, really understand and I can get to know really well, then I'm much more likely to stay on top of things, because I only have to follow a handful of accounts. I can only follow certain people who are also doing similar things, and I'll just be way ahead of the game, and I'll be able to master things a lot quicker. Okay. Now, once I understand the industry, all I really need to do is I need to understand supply and demand, stay up to date at fast sources. So, news information, any sort of updates like this. And then I want to understand investing, entering, and exit strategies. Okay, so I want to understand, these are only just a few things that pop into my mind. There are other things, but basically my approach is going to be mainly built around understanding the industry extremely well. What do the people in that industry really, really want? And is there a coin that can effectively deliver that to people? Because if there is, then that coin has huge potential. Then all I need to do is be like, right, is this coin undervalued, or has it been pumping up for the last 3 months and, it's not looking to, it hasn't, it's got a really high likelihood of having a huge dump soon, in which case wait for the dump and then buy it back up if you've got a long-term idea for it. And again, there's going to be other things like, okay, you're looking to quick flip things, or you're going to look to long-term invest in something and, just sustain it through the dips and just continue kind of dollar cost averaging through the dips and all these types of things. These are all other things to keep in mind. Now, again, I don't want to make this video too long. I just want to keep it short and sweet, but this is the way that I'm going to be approaching this channel. I'm going to be diving into a few industries. I'm going to be learning those really, really well, best I can. I'm going to be sharing that with you. I'm going to be analyzing different coins, different technologies, but hopefully in a simple way, and really just trying to understand the fundamentals. Is there a need for what this coin provides? Do people really need it? Do they need it right now? Do they want it right now? And how well can it deliver that? And is it undervalued or overvalued on the charts? Those are the key things. Now, obviously there are other things, but we'll talk about that in future videos. But guys, I really, really hope that this has helped shed a little bit of insight into how I'm going to be looking at things. And before we go, I just want to quickly hammer the point home about volatility to Ravencoin. Now, Ravencoin is, I believe it's a top 100 coin at this point. It had a bit of a pump, so it's probably in the 80s at the time of uploading this. We can see prices were kind of very all over the place here. And then from this point, they went from 0.025 to almost $1. No, almost $1. No, they basically went up by a very significant portion when they got up to the top up here. And this, you can just tell by looking at it, isn't as predictable. Yes, there will be, it will follow some technical analysis aspects, but not in anywhere near the same way as something that was a bit more, had a bit more use and data in it, such as an actual currency. And so it's much more prone to these huge dips. You see, we have this huge spike and we come almost all the way back down. And then it looks like we may be edging back up again. We edge up here, we come down, maybe we're edging up again. So again, there's going to be a blend of understanding what type of investor you are. You the type of person who wants to get in here, flip it and dump it right here. Be the person who gets in here, here, and you're looking to just ride it up in the long term. These are all things I'm going to be discussing on the channel and how I'm going to be going through this. And guys, just a quick disclaimer, I am not an expert in crypto. I'm sharing my journey with crypto, and hopefully I will become what you could consider an expert. But again, it's just a process. So I thought it'd be valuable to share that with you. But thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, I'd appreciate you leaving a like. Let me know if you've got any ideas for content or anything you'd like to see. And until next time, guys, take care and stay something. I don't know what I was saying there, but yeah, take care, guys, and I'll see you soon.